Mandalorian Season 3 sucks. Yeah, it does. And considering that I liked the 2 previous seasons of the show, it sucks that I have to say this. But alas, I must. I haven't even cared about the show for the last 4 episodes, and I had to binge watch them before I started reviewing the show as a whole. I really just saw Twitter reactions of the other episodes that I didn't watch till now, and pretty much guessed that it was bad. And my guess was correct. It is very bad. Originally, I wasn't going to make a video about The Mandalorian. I just didn't care about the show that much. But the straw that broke the camel's back for me was when I saw this image. And yeah, that pretty much broke it for me. I said, all right, the gloves are on. Or off? The gloves exist. And they are either on or off. I forget the saying. Lizzo and Jack Black being in Star Wars was just such a crazy idea to think about. And it's even crazier without context. The reason it's crazy is just because Star Wars has turned into SNL and just invites whoever they want, I guess. Let's start by talking about the season's premiere episode, the first episode of Season 3. And the first thing that turned me off to the entire show was at the very beginning. In the first scene, a foundling is getting his helmet and becoming a Mandalorian. The first thing that's distracting is the fact that the helmet that they give him looks like a toy from Walmart. It straight up looks like the voice-changing clone helmet. Anyway, they have the ceremony, and then a giant alligator comes out of the water and attacks them. This calls into question multiple things. Well, number 1, why are they having it here, next to the water, where the dangerous alligator is? Number 2, why aren't they just doing it inside the caves that they live in? It also calls into question, why haven't the Mandalorians gotten rid of this alligator already? Because, you know, Mandalorians are known for hunting, since that's the main reason why their home planet is the way it is, which also calls into question, how long have they been here? Do they even know the planet that they are on? Because we don't. There is not one mention of this planet at all. We just know desert caves. That's all we know. Knowing Mandalorians, they would have been searching for life around the area and seen if there were settlements around that they could pillage or even stay away from. And they would even be hunting the creatures for sport, since that's the whole reason their home planet is as barren as it is in the first place. Also, why are they doing the ceremony outside? I thought the whole point of them being secretive is to not do anything in public. And now they're just doing full ceremonies where all of them are outside for some reason. Do it inside the cave that you live in. Anyway, then the Mandalorians just start fighting the beast, and they are just terrible at fighting beasts, which is crazy because they used to do that, you know? That was their whole purpose of living, was fighting big beasts. But oh no, they're in trouble because there's this one guy that keeps drowning in this 3 feet deep water that he could just stand up or just novel concept, detach your grappling hook that's pulling you into the water, you idiot. But don't worry, Din Djarin is here. The Mandalorian, the character of the show. He shows up and blows it up and everyone's a-okay. Except there's drama because he's not a Mandalorian anymore because he took his helmet off. So yeah, in the first 10 minutes, we're shown that Mandalorians are completely inept at doing anything cool. So yeah, that's fun. The reason this rubbed me the wrong way so much is because Mandalorians were a very big part of the advertising for the show, obviously. And the whole reason I like the show is because of Mandalorian lore. I think the lore of Mandalorians and the planet of Mandalore is my favorite like piece of lore in Star Wars. It's just very cool concept to think about. They're like Star Wars Vikings. They're brutal, they pillage, they conquer. That's all you need to know about them, and they're cool. I also love it because I grew up watching Star Wars The Clone Wars. Mandalorians were everywhere in that show. Every single arc with Mandalorians in it was peak Clone Wars for me. The battles they brutally won, the political arcs that took place on the planet of Mandalore, as Satine is wanting to put the planet and society into a more pessimistic role through government.
I speak for thousands of worlds that have urged me to allow them to stay neutral in this war.
And yet some might argue that the strongest defense is a swift and decisive offense.
You are quite the general now, aren't you, Master Kenobi?
Forgive me for interrupting, Your Highness. I meant no disrespect.
Senators, I presume you are acquainted with the collection of half-truths and hyperbole known as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Your Highness is too kind.
You're right, I am.
While Vizsla is plotting against her to become the true leader of Mandalore and return his people to the brutal hunters that they once were.
Governor?
For generations, my ancestors fought proudly as warriors against the Jedi. Now, that woman tarnishes the very name Mandalorian. This lightsaber was stolen from your Jedi temple by my ancestors during the fall of the Old Republic. Since then, many Jedi have died upon its blade. Prepare yourself to join them.
And then Darth Maul shows up and kills Satine, aka Obi-Wan's ex-girlfriend. Spoilers, by the way, but it was really cool.
The perfect tool for my vengeance is in front of us. I never planned on killing you, but I will make you share my pain, Kenobi.
Remember, my dear Obi-Wan. I've loved you always. I always will.
That's what I'm talking about. This shit means something to me, man.
Listen, the show may have been for kids, but it was metal. Don't even get me started on the Siege of Mandalore. Good stuff, baby. Keep in mind, Mandalorians are so cool that they hunted Jedi for fun because they were bored, because they hunted everything else on their home planet and left it barren, so they decided to conquer everything else in the galaxy. I'm pretty sure if you took 100 Mandalorians and 100 Jedi, the 100 Mandalorians would win easy peasy. But not in this show, because now they're just lame and stupid and dumb, and they can't even do anything right except for look stupid in their cheap costumes in a show that costs millions of dollars. I don't know where the budget went, but I can't see it going to any of the writing or costume design for the Mandalorians. I'm pretty sure it just went into Pedro Pascal's pocket, but that's another discussion for another day. Like, if you want a comparison, look at this. And now look at this.
Young ones, to the gate.
There's a big difference. And this just ain't cutting it anymore, all right? And don't worry, that's just the first scene in the first episode that I was criticizing. I'm not gonna talk about the entirety of every episode. I'm just gonna pull out a few points in every episode that are blatant cases of filler and poor attempts to elongate the story that they're trying to tell. At the start of episode 2, Din Djarin goes to the mechanic lady. That's very annoying and shows up in every season, and even showed up in the Book of Boba Fett. And she's the biggest waste of time, and again, very annoying. Apparently, this is one of Dave and John's favorite characters for some reason, because they have to put it into every single piece of media that they make nowadays. Why? I don't know. I wish Dave Filoni learned his lesson when putting Jar Jar Binks into a bunch of episodes of the Clone Wars and then getting hate for it. Because guess what? Nobody likes Jar Jar. Yo, what up? Editor Andrew here. Looking back through editing, I realized that I didn't explain fully why this is filler, or it should be considered as filler. So I'm gonna do that now. A reason that the mechanic is filler is because Mando goes to her because he wants to buy a droid that can scan the atmosphere of Mandalore to make sure that it's not toxic. The problem with this is what happens when he actually gets to Mandalore. Once he gets there, the astromech gets out, goes into a cave, and is supposed to scan the atmosphere, but ends up not being able to because he gets raided by these monkey men. And then Mando has to get out himself in order to check the atmosphere, except when he does, he airlocks his helmet. He then goes into the cave where the astromech was, fights off the monkey men, and saves the astromech droid. The reason that I think this is filler is because he doesn't need the droid in the first place. His helmet airlocks itself. He doesn't have to breathe in the atmosphere. Also, Grogu can just stay in the ship. So yeah, the droid is filler. We don't need the droid. Goodbye. Going back to episode 1, there's a Navarro plotline that goes way too long, but there's a pirate fight that's pretty cool, but could be moved to another episode, but we'll get to that later. Back to episode 2, Din goes to Bo and asks her to help him find the magical underground water on Mandalore. She says no, and Din goes anyway. But then Din gets captured, and Grogu escapes, uses his ship, goes back to Bo, asks her for help. I don't know how Grogu was able to talk to her, but he asks for help. Then she goes back and then helps Din escape, and then they go to the pools, and they finally get to the part of the plot of the episode. For some reason, Dave thought it was a good idea to just have the plot go back and forth between two planets really fast. By the way, I don't really think that's a good idea when in terms of trying to build your world as a big large-scale world, when people just go zipping and zapping literally everywhere. I know that they use light speed, but just have there be a little bit of time in between, so it doesn't feel like the exact same minute that they're talking to each other, you know? If Dave wanted to streamline this, he would have had Bo go anyway, even though she didn't. Just have Din say like some stupid line and be like, "You should come with me, it's Mandalore, your home planet. Don't you believe in your home?" And then she's like, "Ugh, fine, I'll go." And just have her go in the beginning with him, let them explore Mandalore together, and we could have gotten more moments like this.
You were right. Mandalore is not cursed.
Was I? Look around. There's nothing left. The Great Society is now memory. I once ruled here for a brief time. Now it's destroyed. Nothing to cling to but ashes.
This shot is really cool. Them looking over the capital city of Mandalore, very cool. I liked it. It gave me goosebumps considering it looked exactly like Clone Wars Mandalore. I like Clone Wars Mandalore. Don't touch it. It is my baby. Wouldn't it be cool if we got more moments like that? No. I'm still waiting for Disney to hire me at this point. In episode 3, we get the entire subplot of the Doctor from season 1, and it's actually pretty cool, but it shouldn't exist at all. But it also calls into question the intelligence of the New Republic. You see, for the people who worked in the Empire and are now being reintegrated into society through this program, these people who worked for the Empire now have numbers, not a good idea, not names, and live in these small motel complexes that look like a hellscape. And they do these regular surveys of how they like the New Republic, and they're always lying about it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they are almost worse off living here than they are when they were living with the Empire. Especially the fact that they weren't given names and were just given numbers. They're also just given low-level jobs like managing information, I don't even know, looking at discs, whatever the Doctor's doing, and not actually using them for their talents. I wonder who approved this program, because Leia definitely didn't. Overall, I thought that the episode was cool. It had this 1984 feel that I really dug, but the plot is completely thrown down the drain when the Doctor just loses his memory, and there's nothing really go to. There's nothing to look forward to with this character or this story arc. It just turns into filler at the end when it's realized that, oh no, she's a spy, and that's it. Everything that this episode accomplishes in terms of the overarching plot is only to tell you that this chick is a spy. That's it. It doesn't tell you anything to do with the Doctor, because he's probably not coming back. Unless they reverse the mind wipe that they did, which kind of a stretch, and I hope they don't, because if they do that, that also kind of makes this episode useless. So at the end, overall, this episode is just filler, because all it accomplishes is showing us that this woman is a spy, and that could be done way easier in later episodes. In episode 4, there's a plot line where we see more of Grogu's backstory, and Jar Jar Binks shows up. That's a joke because the actor of Jar Jar is the actor for this Jedi. I'm not being racist like people thought Jar Jar was in the early 2000s. Your Honor, I am simply just stating that because it is funny that both of these people are acted by the same person. Please do not put me in prison. I deem this filler because we don't care about Grogu's arc, because Grogu is not the main character of the show anymore. Nothing about the show has anything to do with Grogu. This is just the Mandalorians retaking Mandalore, and Grogu has nothing to do with that. Yes, it's said that he is a Mandalorian, but really, is he? He's too young. He should have just stayed with Luke, and he shouldn't even be in the show to begin with. The only reason he's here is because Ooga Booga Baby Yoda makes money. Ooga Booga, Baby Yoda makes money, and Disney likes money. So, Baby Yoda stays. In the same episode, Grogu fights a foundling in a shooting game, and this game doesn't make any sense. The rules are each person has a dart shooter with 3 darts. Whoever has the most hits wins. In the first 2 rounds, the foundling wins with 1 shot in each round. Then in the 3rd round, Grogu is inspired and jumps over the foundling twice. For some reason, I don't know why he had to jump twice, but he jumps twice. And he shoots the foundling 3 times in the chest. So that calls into question the rules of the game. Are you allowed to shoot multiple times in 1 round? If so, why didn't the foundling do that in the first place? I don't know, that's not answered. This game cannot be played in real life. I don't even know what purpose this served, only to like throw the kid at a bird, but that's it. It's kind of filler. In the same episode, the foundling that Grogu fought is captured by a giant bird. Then they dispatch a rescue group to go get him. But once they get there, they just set up a camp and sleep, even though they should be going up there and rescuing the kid as soon as possible, since the kid is probably dead by now, because, you know, birds eat things, and the kid is food, so you might want to get there as fast as possible in order to make sure that the kid is not eaten. But once they climb the nest, then Vizsla is overwhelmed with this rush of energy to finally hurry it up and try to go get this kid, even though he was sleeping the previous night. The reason I'm labeling this as filler is because you could have easily cut out the part where they're sleeping, just have the kid get captured, have the Mandalorians regroup, make up a plan, send out the rescue team, have the rescue team just get there immediately and have them rescue the kid. You don't need this 10 minutes of sleeping and eating just to wake up and just save the kid. If anything, you want the rescue to go as fast as possible because this kid could be dead any minute. They slept overnight. This kid was probably in that bird's stomach for probably 10 hours. Oh yeah, I forgot. The kid gets puked up. So the fact that he is not dead is crazy to me because these birds must just not have stomach acid. In episode 4, Navarro is being invaded by pirates. So Karga's first idea is to contact the New Republic. This is surprising since I thought he was against the New Republic and wanted to stay independent because he didn't trust them. It would make more sense for him to contact Mando, considering that Mando is just able to conjure up an army of Mandalorians. But anyway, the rebel fighter gets the message, watches it, goes all the way back to Coruscant, talks to an officer, the spy girl shows up, ooh, they say no, then he travels all the way to where the Mandalorians are hiding, which is really funny because he knows where they live even though they pride themselves on secrecy, but even then they do things in broad daylight, even though they have caves to do things in. I don't know, maybe the Mandalorians are just stupid now. Probably. Yeah, I'm gonna guess so. Anyway, this rebel officer goes to the Mandalorians, tells Mando that they need help, and Navarro is being invaded by pirates, and then we get this funny line.
Mandalorians pride ourselves on our secrecy. Mandalorians pride ourselves on our secrecy. Mandalorians pride ourselves on our secrecy.
That's pretty funny. Anyway, the Mandalorians talk about it and they decide that they're going to go help Navarro and fight off these evil pirates. All of that, what I was talking about, took 20 minutes of the episode. It doesn't need to be that long. You don't need that much setup for a fight scene. All of this could have been tied up in the first 5 to 10 minutes of this episode. And then we could have gotten a full 30 minutes of Mandalorians fighting pirates. I don't know about you, but that sounds kind of cool. It is cool, except Dave and John are too busy doing world building for parts of the universe that Mandalorians have no business being in. Anyway, episode 6 is the Lizzo episode. The entirety of the part of the Lizzo and Jack Black episode is 35 minutes of nothing. There's a separatist guy who has invaded the droids and are trying to turn the city evil or something. I don't know. I skipped it because I don't care about that arc. I don't want to see Lizzo on the screen saying that she's the beauty standard in Star Wars. I don't care. Leave me alone. But in the last 10 minutes, Bo-Katan gets the Darksaber, and you're probably thinking it was an epic fight between Din Djarin and Bo-Katan. And if you think that, you are foolish because Bo-Katan gets the Darksaber on a technicality. Cool. Thanks, Dave. So yeah, that's 9 instances of filler and poor writing in a 7-episode series so far. That's more than 50% of The Mandalorian being filler. And if I were to count every specific minute, it's probably more. But you know what's cool? Skinny Pete is back in The Mandalorian. He's off the streets of New Mexico as a drug addict, and now he's a Mandalorian being swag with the drip. I just thought I'd point that out. I thought that was cool. I saw him take off his helmet, and I was like, hey, Breaking Bad. I'll also do a little comparison to Mando. I'll compare the pilot episode of Breaking Bad to literally any of these episodes of Mandalorian, even the first one. I just have a little short list of everything that happens in Breaking Bad, episode 1. We see the character of Walter White as an overpaid chemistry teacher. He's not seen as a very manly man in terms of Hank and others in his family. We see that he has to keep 2 jobs to keep up with expenses in his family. At his car washing job, he passes out, and it is later revealed that he has lung cancer. Then at his 50th birthday, we see him getting intrigued by the idea of cooking meth when his brother Hank talks about a recent bust that they did. He asks Hank for a drive-along where we are first introduced to Jesse Pinkman. Walter then goes to Jesse's house and asks him if he wants to cook. Jesse says yes, obviously. Walter goes to school the next day and grabs all the necessary materials to cook. Then Walt and Jesse go and buy an RV. They go into the middle of the desert, cook meth, and Jesse is very impressed with the batch that they make. Jesse takes a sample to Crazy 8 and he's also impressed. Then Crazy 8 goes to meet Walter and Amelia remembers seeing him at the drugs bust. So things get a little heated, as you might think. Walter offers to show them how he made it and lets them into the RV. Walter then makes mustard gas, purposely, which I thought was really cool, and tries to kill them. Walter then drives home, panicking the entire way that the police are coming for him. He then gets home and, pleasures his wife, and the episode ends. I want you to now compare the pilot episode of Breaking Bad to any of the episodes of Mandalorian, and I'm pretty sure you can't get any episode that does this much in one episode. You're probably thinking it's unfair to compare Breaking Bad to it because it's the greatest show of all time. But my question is, why can't Mando be better? I want Mandalorian to be better than Breaking Bad. I want every show that I watch to be better than Breaking Bad, or at least good. I'm not saying this because I hate Breaking Bad. I think Breaking Bad, as far as I've seen, is a great show. But the fact of the matter is, the finale of Breaking Bad came out almost 10 years ago, and nothing's been able to beat it, which is kind of depressing. Talking about depression, Star Wars is really bad right now. I just don't care anymore. I don't care about Star Wars, and that's crazy to think about. Star Wars Celebration didn't even have anything interesting in its lineup. Nobody cares about the new Rey Skywalker movie, about her rebuilding the Jedi Order, because since that's the movie that Luke Skywalker deserved. Ahsoka is my favorite character in the Clone Wars, and the fact that I haven't even taken the time to watch the trailer for her show is sad. I don't care anymore. Even Return of the Jedi, my favorite Star Wars movie ever, is coming back to theaters for its 40th anniversary, and I don't care. My excitement for new Star Wars stuff is just dead. So yeah, in short, Mandalorian Season 3 sucks, and I don't care. Thank you, and goodbye. Yo, what up? Editor Andrew here. I just thought I'd pop by since I didn't really review the last episode of Mandalorian, so I'll just do it here. The last episode was still bad. Congratulations. There were a lot of things that were bad about it, but I'll start with the cool stuff. Number one, the Mandalorians fighting in the air was cool. I don't care how scuffed the battle was or the cinematography was. If you just put Mandalorians in front of me flying and having aerial combat with jetpacks, I will be happy, all right? I know that sounds like I'm dumb, but trust me, I am, all right? Let's move on. One of the things that bothered me in the previous episode was Vizsla dying. He really didn't need to die, and he was one of the only Mandalorians that had a character or even had a name. Without him, the season finale felt really boring, and I didn't care about any of the other Mandalorians because none of them have names that I remember. Also, he sacrificed himself for nothing. The only reason he would is to make those red guards impressive and intimidating, but he really didn't accomplish that since Baby Yoda was able to fight them. Yeah, that's right. In the finale, Baby Yoda fights the Red Guard people, and it's really embarrassing. For a second in the fight, I thought they were gonna tase Baby Yoda, but I'm pretty sure they didn't. And honestly, I was rooting for the guards. I wanted Baby Yoda to die. I've never wished death upon a fictional character more than Baby Yoda. Moff Gideon was just a joke of a character. I was laughing at him the entire time. Also, he's probably not dead, only because the Beskar armor is able to withstand lots of heat, or at least it's supposed to. So him being alive could be an option, and it probably will be an option. The destruction of the Darksaber was pretty lame. They'll probably fix it in the future, but it was pretty lame. Also, it's made out of Beskar, so the fact that he was able to crush it was pretty impressive and probably inconsistent. Also, the cloning plotline was so unneeded. The same scene that it was discovered is the same scene that it's destroyed in. I know that it's been an overarching theme in the entirety of the Mando, but it's just not the focus of the show, and it really doesn't need to be in it anymore. It's like this threat that's looming in the background in season 2 when they go into that skeleton base and they find clones there, and they're all like, "Ooga booga, what are these? Oh no!" And then it happens in the finale of this episode again, where Mando's like, "Ooga booga, what are these? Oh no." But then he just destroys them all and that's it. And the only remark that Moff makes is that, "Oh no, you destroyed my clones." Clones that were force sensitive, by the way. That plot definitely wasn't given the time to become anything. It was really just a background plot piece that really wasn't made into a overarching plot that could have been something, you know? I don't know how to describe it, but it just sucked, and it shouldn't have been in the show in the beginning. Also, this show completely reverts the endings of both season 1 and 2, considering Baby Yoda is back and IG-11 is back. So it really takes away all meaning that we had to those characters in the beginning. Honestly, Baby Yoda should have stayed with Luke. Give us some separation between Mando and Grogu, and then in season 4 have Grogu return. That would have been way better. Anyway, I'm gonna stop ranting. I'm going unscripted here, so My thoughts are very turbulent. I'll leave you with videos I recorded when I was watching Mando Season 3. Goodbye. No, it's the Lizzo episode. I forgot. No, please stop. I don't want to watch this anymore. No. Bro, this entire episode is a video game side quest. I do not care. I'm about to take my remote and just skip this entire episode. But I have to watch it because I decided I was going to make a video about this entire season. I hate the path I've chosen in life. This episode, they're just hunting droids that are malfunctioning. What is going on? I wanted to watch The Mandalorian, not a prop hunt. So, you know what? The finale's kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie. This is kind of dope. The rest of the series is still kind of terrible, but this is doable. Good job. Actually, you know what? This is kind of funny. I don't know why Gus Fring makes robot noises when he moves. I think that's kind of funny. Yo, what? Are they killing Baby Yoda? Is the show gonna pop off? They're about to just, like, electrocute Baby Yoda. Look at this! What's going on? W movie, honestly. Jesse. Jesse. Gus almost has the dark saber, Jesse. Jesse, he's getting the dark saber, Jesse. Jesse!